If you've ever planted something in your garden and wondered why it just wouldn't grow, it probably wasn't your fault. It's just your soil. Today, I'm breaking down the 3 things your organic garden soil needs to create healthy and productive plants, whether you're just starting out as a gardener or you're trying to fix a struggling one. Shopping at a big box store might fool you into thinking that great garden soil just comes in one big bag. But great soil is actually made up of 3 things: structure, nutrients, and activity. And you just can't buy all that from the store. So first, let's cover structure. When you think about the structure of your soil, you want to think about a room for the roots of your plants, because that's what soil is. It's giving a place for your roots to settle in and find their home. Now, your soil structure is made up of 3 main components: sand, clay, and silt. And they're all quite different in their size and the way they interact with your plants. Sand is going to be the largest particle. Sand has all these big rocks, essentially, that join together to form sand. Sand is very porous, meaning air and water just run right through it. Then you have the opposite spectrum when it comes to structure, which is clay. Clay particles are tiny and they stick together very tightly. And this makes water and air very tough to make it through. So clay soil is going to absolutely hold on to any water that comes through it. Finally, you have silt, which is right in between. The particles are a little bit smaller than they are with sand, but bigger than they are with clay. This means that silt structures are going to let water come in, but also drain fairly quickly. Now, when it comes to your garden soil structure, we really want a combination of all 3. And this is what we call loam. Loam is pure magic for your garden soil because it lets in water, but it also lets it drain so that your plants don't drown. It's not nearly as dense as clay is by itself, but it's not nearly as porous as sand is all alone. So if your garden soil reminds you of something you'd need to make a bowl on a potter's bench, or it reminds you of a day at the beach, then you've got some work to do on your soil structure. Now, the next part of great soil is nutrients. Your plants don't just need a place for their roots to take up space and live. They actually need food to help them grow. And that food comes from nutrients. And nutrients come, believe it or not, from dead stuff. The key nutrients that your plants are going to need to grow are nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. And all these nutrients come from the decomposed matter from plants and animals that have died, and also from animals' manure. The third and most powerful part of your great organic soil is activity. And when I say activity, I mean life. Microorganisms that we can barely see with our eye that are working all the magic underground. The first magical activity comes from earthworms. Earthworms are like construction workers in your garden soil. Earthworms eat as they tunnel through your soil, making pockets of air so that water and nutrients can flow through, and then leaving behind a trail of earthworm castings, which are teeming with microbes. And that brings us to the second form of activity, which is microorganisms. These are tiny little organisms that are all the time breaking up organic matter into smaller and smaller pieces that your plants can absorb. Then we have bacteria. Bacteria is like a blender in your garden soil. It's constantly eating up organic matter in a very fast pace. Bacteria eats up the tiny leaves and stems and turns them into nutrients that your plants can absorb and use. And then finally, we have the fungi. And fungi are kind of like the slow cooker in your organic garden soil. They're slowly breaking down the bigger pieces of organic matter in your soil, and they're also fixing nitrogen on the roots of your plants. It's this microscopic activity that works all the magic when it comes to organic garden soil. All these microorganisms take the rough structure of your garden soil and blend it together with the nutrients of decaying matter so that you get this living, breathing, energy-giving source for all the growth that happens in an organic garden. It truly is nature's magic. So now that we've covered the 3 components of soil, let's go back to that plant you put in the garden that just didn't do well and analyze what actually happened. If you were constantly watering that plant and it continued to wilt, like it couldn't hold on to any water, Or you watered it just a little bit and suddenly it was waterlogged and rotting or mildewing, then you have a structure problem with your soil. If your plant's leaves turned yellow or lime green and didn't have that nice, healthy, vibrant color, if your plants barely flowered or barely fruited, or the fruit turned colors or had blossom end rot, if the roots were malformed or didn't look healthy when you pulled up your rooting plants, then you had a nutrient problem when it comes to your soil. And finally, if your plants produced just a little bit, if you got a couple of leaves, if you got a small little root, or just a few flowers or fruit off of that plant, then you have an activity problem when it comes to your soil. As you can see, garden soil can be so complicated. I have been gardening for 15 years and I am just starting to get a grasp on how this whole organic garden soil thing works. I've been doing a deep dive recently and I've got some awesome new resources to share with you. So if you want to check those out, I'll put a link right below this video. So do me a favor this season, when you have a plant that's struggling, that's not doing well, don't get down on yourself. Don't blame yourself. Instead, look at the signs. What's happening? Are you having to water it like crazy? Is it wilting? Is it mildewing? Is it just sitting there and barely growing? Is it hardly creating any fruit? Or is the fruit that it's growing looking weird or misshapen? Look at the signs above the ground and let those help you diagnose. Is it a structure problem, a nutrient problem, or an activity problem? And then solve the problem underneath your garden, and you're gonna see the results on the top totally change. Don't give up. I got your back. I'll see you next time.